Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Friday morning. It's Stephen Whiteside here from the uptrend.com. In the pre-market this morning, things are fairly quiet. Stock index futures, Bitcoin, and crude oil are trading slightly lower right now, while gold is slightly higher. We do have non-farm payrolls coming out at 8:30 this morning. They could certainly help change the direction of the market. Looking at the week so far, it's been fairly quiet. New highs for the TSX, new high for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100, which is up over 2% on the week. Crude oil is having an inside week. It's up 30 cents. It's losing that in the pre-market this morning. And then we've got gold having an inside week, down $32 and change. It's up $8, $10, $12 in the pre-market this morning. Again, that could change based on what happens at 8:30. And then looking at the VIX, small gain for the week so far, but again, no change in trend, both on a weekly and on a daily basis. And then Bitcoin, of course, traded through the $100,000 level yesterday and then pulled back. So that is still a big round number. Looking at the VIX, it's still on a sell signal here. That would change on Friday with a close above 1506. And of course, the VIX ETFs look very similar to the VIX at the moment. Now, we saw Bitcoin punch through the $100,000 level and then give up those gains going into the close, closing below 100,000 and certainly trading below 100,000 in the pre-market this morning. So we're trying to get to 106,250, got as high as 105,325. So almost made it yesterday. So we should be able to come back and take another run at that, I hope, in the not so distant future. New highs for the Bitcoin ETFs, new high for Coinbase yesterday, but not for Mara and certainly not for MicroStrategy. So not following in suit with the cryptocurrency itself. And then Bitfarms still on a sell signal here. So with what happened yesterday, we couldn't even get buyers back into Bitfarms on Thursday. Hut 8, on the other hand, did make a new high for this move. Now, when we look at the major index ETFs, we're not going to notice too much selling yesterday, but there were a lot of individual stock sell signals on Thursday. And they may not have been in those big cap tech stocks that we love to follow, but they were in a lot of other stocks people are following. So looking at the Vanguard Canada ETF, it was up slightly on the day. So was the iShares for the TSX 60. So both closing above the upper channel line. Now, in the Canadian market, we did see a big reversal for the Venture Exchange, which of course is filled with mostly micro-cap commodity-related stocks for the most part. And here we are pulling back from the 625 level and into the channel. So we may end up on Friday with a new sell signal for the Venture Exchange. And of course, that is the risk-off trade. Now, looking at the Dow, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, small pullbacks yesterday, no major breakdown there. But then when you go to the Russell, you can see that we peaked almost 2 weeks ago, and here we are on the edge of a new daily sell signal. So for the IWM, we're looking for a close on Friday below $237.71. For the small cap ETF, we're looking for a close below $256.67. And for the micro cap ETF, we are looking for a close below $135.33. Let's continue our look at Canadian bank stocks this week. And yesterday was a great example of why I don't use protective stops in the market. Starting off with the iShares Financials ETF, it's still on a buy signal, closing slightly higher yesterday. Wild day for the bank ETF, on the other hand, and at the end of the day, it continued on its buy signal, closing slightly higher on the day. So here's a good example of why I don't use stops. To actually generate a sell signal here, we were looking for a close yesterday up below the lower channel line. And if you had have just put an order in, a stop loss order in just below the lower channel line, it would have got executed yesterday and you would have missed all this. And at the end of the day, there was no sell signal generated. So for us, for making major decisions, when to get in, when to completely liquidate a position, we use one number, and that is the closing price. We use that because that's the price the pros agree upon. Otherwise, every other price during the day is not a final price. The closing price is, and that's the one number we use to get in or to get completely out of a position. Now, looking at the Bank of Nova Scotia, we're still on a sell signal, no change there. Certainly a change in trend for CIBC. If I was trading this stock, of course, I would not get back in at this particular time. If you're a longer-term investor, of course, what happened this week has not affected you at all. Then looking at the National Bank, a second day of a sell signal there, no change in trend. Now, one of the things we've been talking about over the past couple of months is just to emphasize the fact that good things are expected to happen to good stocks and bad things are expected to happen to bad stocks. So right now, the Royal Bank is certainly considered a good stock. You see the flypaper channel is continuing to move up towards the right-hand corner of the screen. You can see investors continue to buy any dip in this particular stock, and we still have it on a buy signal. Now, on the other hand, the TD Bank has been in the doghouse for a while. It fell out of the sky yesterday. It was below the flypaper channel and trying to break out above it. It was below all the moving averages and trying to break out above it. Now, there is a time in which a particular sector, the stocks will all look like this. And then what you're doing is looking for the first one to break out. In this situation, we've got all the major Canadian bank stocks up at the top right-hand corner of the screen. And then this is the ugly duckling. So it's pretty easy to see the stock the market does not like. How is that going to change? Well, it's going to change as soon as we see buyers come in and take it above the moving averages and out of the flypaper channel. That's when we will know things have changed. But otherwise, before that happens, things have not changed, and we would continue to expect a stock like this to make lower highs and lower lows. Looking at the TSX Most Actives from yesterday's trading action, we've got Suncor still on a sell signal, no change there. We've got Canadian Natural Resources back on a sell signal, of course, and that was unfortunate. As I mentioned the other day, I wasn't excited about the little buy signal there. I was more looking for a breakout above the November high to tell us something new was happening. That did not happen. Then we've got Great West still on a sell signal, no change there. New high for Air Canada on Thursday, a new high for Enbridge on Thursday. No joy for Baytech. We had an inside day on Thursday, still on a sell signal. There's TC Energy rubbing up against the upper channel line. A close above $69.03 on Friday would give us a buy signal. Then we've got Manulife back on a buy signal there. No joy for Barrick, still on a sell signal here. Nice big down day for Barrick on Thursday. And then the big winner yesterday was TransAlta, up over 9% on the day, making a new high, reaching up there towards $18. Let's finish off this morning's presentation, walking through the most actives from New York. And Rigetti Computing was the most actively traded stock in New York on Thursday. Huge big up day for SoundHound on Thursday. No joy for NVIDIA. It's on its second day of a buy signal, but closing slightly lower on the day. There's Intel falling again on Thursday. No joy there. Plug Power still on a buy signal. Then looking at Lucid. Lucid still on a sell signal here. That would change on Thursday with a close above $2.19. And you can see the pros and the public are waiting for something. It certainly looks like they've finished selling, and we're just waiting for some catalyst to tell us to start buying. American Airlines popped on Thursday, making a new high. No joy for NEO, still looking for a close above $4.71. Then Tesla. Tesla moved up, hit our next price target of $375. So cha-ching. And if we can start breaking out above $375, then $400 and $406.25 certainly come into play. Unfortunately, Uber rolled over yesterday, and of course, Uber was playing from under the flypaper channel, just like the TD Bank. And of course, that opens it up to bad news, and I guess yesterday was a bad news day for Uber. Okay, everyone, that is all for this morning's presentation. I am technically doing this before the non-farm payroll numbers come out. That doesn't mean it's going to be published and available to you before those numbers come out, which is unfortunate. It does take a while to wrap this up and get it published. So stock index futures, everything looks about the same before the non-farm payroll numbers come out. And of course, those numbers could change the direction of the market. But we are going in to the weekend, and things are looking pretty happy. Hopefully that will continue. That's all for me for this week. Next time you'll hear my voice, if you're a member, is on Sunday. Otherwise, I'll be back, and we'll talk on Monday morning and see what happened on Friday. Enjoy the day, enjoy your weekend, and again, we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for tuning in until the very end of today's stock market timing educational video. If you found the content valuable, don't forget to express your support by hitting the like button, leave a comment, sharing with your friends, and subscribing to our channel for more insightful updates. Remember, in the world of stocks, timing is crucial, and following the trend can be your greatest ally. If you would like more information on how we can help you better time the stock market, please visit theuptrend.com.